Hello everyone, it's really good to be here today. Today I want to talk a bit about my vision for the future of finance and how we are on the brink of mass adoption for programmable money, also known as cryptocurrency or your favorite blockchain tokens. But first, I want to go into where we are today, and we have to start at what money is. The first form of money that comes to mind is physical cash. It's the money in your wallet that you can use to go and buy your chicken rice in the hawker center. It's the money that you can use to pay your friend, and it's very convenient when you're in the real world, when you're next to somebody. One very important part about physical cash is that you can truly own it, and you can transact however you like. Which gets me to the second part of money that we're very used to. This is the money in your bank account. It's the digital money that you have in maybe WeChat Pay, Alipay, or PayPal. And one thing that digital money is that it is owned by someone else on your behalf. So it's someone else that manages it and gives you services for it. This is a really important difference to physical cash where you're fully in control, because these banks are private banks. These financial institutions are private, and they can offer you services based on what they feel. They can work with you if you're the right customer, or they don't. And these limitations, you feel them when maybe on the weekend you cannot do a bank transfer, or when you do an international transfer and it takes forever, or when the ATM network is down. And this gets me into why a big part of this conference exists. And that is new money. New money, programmable money, cryptocurrencies combine the advantages of both of those. The first is that you can truly own it. It's just like cash, you can transact anywhere, but because of its digital nature, you can send it anywhere, it has equal access. And the second important part, which is why I call it programmable money, is the programmability, which allows us to build an entire new economy on top. Because on one side, as a user, you can own your money. On the other side, you have businesses such as TenX or many other that can cater to those users who own this money. One big question that people ask when we're talking about cryptocurrencies is, what is the big problem that crypto is solving? And I would argue today that's the wrong question to answer or to ask. And it is because when we look at financial problems in the world, then we can classify them into, let's say, big problems. Problems where there is like 1 million users, there's maybe 100,000 users who want to send money from one country to another. And these big problems, on the left up here, are problems that our existing financial system is really uniquely qualified in terms of its scale to actually solve. This is where venture capital can really come in and help and build financial services when they're big. But then you have the long tail. You have the problems that affect smaller number of people, that are more difficult to solve, that might not be as big or making as much money for the banks. And that's the problems where we have today the unbanked, where you have 1 to 2 billion people that have no access to financial services. Or where you also have, for example, access to financial markets such as investing being very difficult to do in certain cases. Like my co-founder is Thai. And I recently learned that in Thailand, 99.5% of the people do not have a brokerage account. They don't have the most basic form of investing available to them today. And this is really all these problems that are not efficiently solved today is where crypto can win. And I would argue we're not really in competition with the existing financial world yet, simply because we're starting on the other end. We're starting where you can call it DIY finance or DeFi. One interesting one many of you have seen is the crowdfunding, the token sales that happened in 2017, where previously we had venture capital. A big amount of that was centered around US and US startups, with some smaller amounts being in the rest of the world. But with token sales, we suddenly saw startups, projects, protocols gain traction and actually manage to raise funds anywhere in the world. And this is really just one of those many things that cryptocurrencies and programmable money can do. So how do we get there? I see 3 big steps that are needed us as an industry, but also for TenX as a company to get us into this future of programmable money. And the first thing is we need to do things the right way. And the right way is often a question about compliance. So for us, working with the existing world is really important because nearly everybody is in the existing world. It does not have crypto. We need to be able to get that bridge working, and therefore we need to do things the right way to work with the existing world. For TenX, that means we have a financial license in Europe. We're properly regulated under European laws. We're working closely with MAS here in Singapore with the upcoming Payment Service Act. Essentially, we want to do things the right way. But this is also a controversial topic. Like many startups in the cryptocurrency space, they ask, why compliance? Don't slow us down. And I would like to share there's like two different perspectives to compliance. But maybe we should ask first, why compliance at all? And I think the answer is that on first principles, compliance and regulation is there to protect people. We just want to make sure that people don't get hurt. Not each other, not by themselves, or maybe not the economy. And if you can take two perspectives on this. On one, you can say, we take all the problems and we make everything that is risky illegal. That's like a very safe and cautious approach, and some people would argue for that. But I would say that's very limiting to innovation and actually potential. The second view is we just let everything happen and see if people can learn and protect themselves, which is maybe a bit more risky. And I think the truth is somewhere in between, which is why, let me go back 1 second. To give one more example, I think that's very interesting. When we take an established industry, we know all the problems. Therefore, there is not so much gray area anymore. And we know how to regulate it, we know how to follow the rules because the problems are known. In crypto, this is still wide and open. It's still an open question of how to regulate this. But let me give you an interesting example. Most of you here today are probably early adopters in the cryptocurrency space, which means you might have been early adopters in previous technologies, such as the internet or social media. And you might still remember when you started using it, and then years later you onboarded maybe your mom or your dad, and you set them down and say, okay, so this is Facebook. I'm going to upload all my pictures here, but please don't embarrass me in front of my friends. Today, we don't have this kind of meetings anymore. We don't have to explain how social media works because it's kind of common sense. People have learned on how to use this technology. And I see the same thing happening in the cryptocurrency space, of which that users don't actually come with the prerequisites of, like in crypto, this would be cryptography, game theory, economics, how money works. No, people don't come with a crypto background before crypto. They learn it. And I'm really amazed of seeing people that are in this industry for a few years or sometimes even just a few months in how much they learn about how it works. It's the same with the internet. Nobody was internet savvy before the internet. And I think this is the second perspective when we talk about compliance is people can learn, people can improve and protect themselves. They can figure out how to securely store their own funds. And I think this is where education comes in. Education to the users and telling them and helping them understand of how it works. This is a very big focus for us at TenX, is we have just recently launched our dojo, which is a blockchain academy, where you can learn about the basics of cryptocurrencies, the basics of programmable money and what you can do with it. We're committed to open offices and meetups because we think this is a really big, important step for our industry today to really focus on education. Education with the users, and like I mentioned in terms of compliance, also education with regulators, in telling them and talking to them about what are the real risks that we need to help protect and what are the risks that our industry can solve themselves. Which gets me to the third point, and I think this is really what our industry today is all about, is giving people access to cryptocurrencies, to what I call crypto banking, of being your own bank. And this access is very important because most people they don't hold cryptocurrencies yet. And this is something we can change. This is a quote by Bill Gates who said, we don't need banks, but we do need banking. And I think this is kind of true when there is limits to what banks can do, but people still need banking. For us, today we have our cards live here in Singapore, and for travelers across several markets in Asia. We are about to launch in Europe our TenX card, thanks to the financial license that we received earlier this year. And this is our main product today. It's our wallet and our card that allows spending of cryptocurrencies in the real world. And one thing I would like to add here for those who are not a bit more new to the cryptocurrency space is the power of cryptocurrencies, even with just a simple cryptocurrency wallet. Now, I'd say our USP is really being able to spend it, but the wallet itself is interesting. And what I mean with that is when we launched our product 4 years ago as a proof of concept, we were initially just 100 users, but it was interoperable with every other cryptocurrency wallet out there. And it seems like kind of obvious, yes, this is what cryptocurrencies can do. But if you think about all the other finance wallets out there, let's take Apple Pay or Android Pay, they're not compatible. The most convenient form, if I would go out tonight and try to give you $5, digital is very hard if I'm not using crypto. Like from my Android phone to your iPhone will be very hard to do if it's not crypto. The most convenient form today is still cash. But if we go into the world of cryptocurrency where you have true ownership of your money, it becomes obvious. Like as long as you have any kind of wallet, you can use that wallet today, send it to the TenX wallet and make it spendable. And that's very powerful. And it's just one very core concept of cryptocurrencies with many more being possible. So I started the talk in the very beginning with we're on the brink of mass adoption. And I think today, the big steps we're taking is really on doing things the right way, education, and then building a bridge and letting people come into this space. So how much or how far have we gone today? This is a survey by Blockchain Capital of earlier this year in the US. And they found that 9% of the population already are holding Bitcoin today. And it doesn't sound like that much. That's like 1 in 11 people. So if you think like of your friends, if 1 in 11 people holds crypto, that's not that much actually. But the truth is, it's actually a lot. And to understand that is how exponential growth works. 10%, researchers have found, is actually a very strong tipping point. When they were researching about virality or how ideas spread, how ideas in political uprisings or in countries work. And they found when just 10% of the population hold an unshakable belief, their belief will be adopted by the majority. And I think this is very relevant to our industry because what else is a new cryptocurrency or cryptocurrency overall than a new idea? And with so close being to 10%, I think we're going to see massive growth over the next 2-3 years. I would expect that if today 1 in 10 of your friends holds crypto, in 2 to 3 years, this will be 5 to 6 people out of 10, which is a massive change. And with this, I want to finish my talk. I want to encourage everybody to download our wallet and get a 10X card to spend it today. And I'll hand it over to Jin to take questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toby. Now, when I think cryptocurrency, I think 10X. Is that correct?
That's cool. Yeah, thank you.
Right. Okay, now we'll be opening up the stage for about 10 minutes for any questions that you might have. And to sweeten the deal for you, whoever that asks this question will get a goodie bag from us. Now, what's inside? Well, you have to find out. Gentleman there.
Thank you. I'm Tom. I'm a hardware wallet reseller in the Benelux. Could you elaborate a bit more on the 10X card? I saw Visa was on the card. Does it mean that it can literally be used in every restaurant, whatever, that's actually cooperating with Visa?
That's correct. So the 10X card is a Visa card. We launched at the beginning of the year. We have been growing 75% months over months. And we're very eager to launch in Europe again, which will come towards end of the year. Initially Germany and Austria, and then from beginning next year, we're going to roll out through the rest of Europe.
Okay, and then one more question, please. Which crypto assets actually can be used with the card?
So today we support Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we're very eager to get more cryptocurrencies in. We base those decisions on user demand. So if there is a big user group with a token that they want to spend, we try to make it spendable.
Great, thank you. Good luck.
Thanks.
Thank you. Great questions. Any more from the stage? There.
Good morning, it's Lawrence Cross from Goldgram. Tell me your card, when you spend the crypto, are you preloading the fiat or are you spending live at the time of spend?
So from a user's perspective, you can link up a cryptocurrency account and there will be a back-to-back conversion first into fiat, but you can directly spend it. So you don't have to preload the card.
So at the time of authorization, you'll actually sell the asset at the value at the time of authorization of the spend?
That's correct.
Okay, that's good. And is there a load limit on the card, an annual load limit or a monthly load limit?
Basically, the question is how much you can spend. We have daily limits, monthly limits, and I think a yearly limit. I don't remember the yearly one, but I believe the monthly and daily are in the $10,000 to $20,000 range. Maybe Mike, you can answer that.
Yeah, it's so the fee. The limits are about 150,000 Sing a year, about $10,000 a day Sing, and also 25,000 a month. Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so I actually have a question as well. Sorry, guys, I'll just take it from you for a bit. But no goodie bags from me. I'm not taking it from you. So, Toby, I really love that TenX is focusing a lot on the education sector with your dojo. So, in the space, I think people who have been in the cryptocurrency space are aware that it's actually a major hurdle to get people to be interested in cryptocurrencies or the blockchain technology, right? So, what do you think is the most important topic that will get people interested in learning or getting to get themselves introduced to the blockchain cryptocurrency sector?
That's a very interesting question. And I think it's very individual for different people. Like what we're finding when we look at our card usage, it's actually different by market. So if we take Singapore as a developed market, there is more interest on the investment capabilities of like holding Bitcoin and then taking the upside when the price is good. So we see like more spending when the price goes up than when the price goes down, because people want to take profit, and TenX card is one of those. If we go into other markets, TenX card can already be used in conjunction with, like, let's say, other providers like exchanges somewhere else to solve people's problems that they cannot solve any other way. Like when we had the cards live 2 years ago, we had users in Africa, and they were describing when we were doing user interviews how they're using the card. And it's like, yeah, we're giving those cards to our kids in London, and the banks don't help us to actually give them money to survive. So what we used to do is give them cash every 6 months in a suitcase. And I'm like, whoa, that sounds like super sketchy. And I'm like, yeah, it's sketchy, it's risky, it's not the way you should do finance. But we're in Africa, and we have to do to like get people to be able to do this, right? And so what they were doing, they were like buying a Bitcoin a month and sending it to their kids on a TenX card. Like no crazy amounts, no money laundering risk here. This is really just someone else figured out a use case of using the TenX card with a problem they had. And I think this is an illustration of how there can be many, many different problems that people are solving today. Like I know from another business in the Philippines that Bitcoin is heavily used for remittance use cases. But I think there's many others as well. I mean, I think we're going to have more talks here today about decentralized finance. One interesting one I would see coming up is, for example, interest rates. Right now, the decentralized finance space pays interest rates much higher than the existing world. And if the existing world is going negative in interest rates everywhere, then that might become a use case. Hasn't quite picked up on normal users yet, but who knows?
All right. Thanks, Toby. All right. Gentleman right there.
Hi, I got a question on security. How do you keep the Bitcoin safe? Because if you do conversion instantly, that must be in a hot wallet. Maybe you can share a little bit your security process.
Sure, happy to do so. Security is one of our most important parts of the business, and knock on wood, we haven't been hacked today. But that should not be a binary question of like being hacked or not being hacked. The real way to think about security in the cryptocurrency space, in my opinion, is risk management. Is that if you get hacked, that the amount is so small that it does not impact your users nor your business. And this is how we at TenX look at this. So you're right, we have to have a hot wallet. In this case, not for the payments, but for users to be able to withdraw in real time. The payment side of things, we do the conversion, but we can manage that in a different way, like in terms of hedging. But for users to be able to withdraw from our wallet in real time, and yes, it's a custodial wallet, we need to have a hot wallet. So what we do is we work, like we have multiple levels of cold storage where the complexity, the difficulty to access them actually increases. So it means like, yes, there are certain amounts in a hot wallet that if multiple subsystems get compromised at the same time, like we're working with BitGo on the hot wallet part, then yes, this money could be stolen, has happened before. Knock on wood that it will never happen, but even in that case, we built the business in a way that this would not take us down. We have the majority of the funds in then cold storage and more secure locations where you don't have digital access.
And can you share a little bit about your fee schedule? How much do you charge for transactions?
Sure, that's an easy one. So on our cards, we don't charge any fees at all. So you have the wallet, you have deposits and withdrawals, which are also free of charge. What we do have is essentially an exchange rate that you can check at any one time. It's not as good as on an exchange where you would have to trade and like really be in the market, but it's a competitive exchange rate that you can check it by yourself, and it's, yeah. So we're working with multiple exchanges and trying to get the best rate, but there's no other fees than that.
Right. One more here.
Hi, I'm Wendy from DQ Concepts. Me and my colleagues currently are holders of the MCO Visa card. So what would you say would differentiate TenX to the user from the existing competition?
Well, I am not a holder of an MCO card, but I think what sets us apart is really the usability. It's like I was asked before in terms of how you can use cryptocurrencies directly. It really is a crypto-first card, where most other companies are like a fiat card, like a US dollar or Sing dollar card with some crypto support.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Thank you. Any more questions from the floor? Christian, right back there, the gentleman.
Sorry, go ahead.
Hi, this is Raji from Upwork. May I know the difference between the Litecoin and the Bitcoin?
Litecoin and Bitcoin?
Yeah.
So this is a more technical question. Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency invented in 2009 by Satoshi Nakamoto. It's still the biggest by market cap and many other metrics such as mining and hash power. Litecoin was one of the earliest, maybe the earliest, I don't remember exactly, but altcoins. So it used the same source code of Bitcoin and it created a new cryptocurrency. It's smaller than Bitcoin today, and people trade it independently.
Thank you.
And technical capabilities, it's very similar. I think it has a faster block time, but other than that, it's very, very similar.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So we have time for one last question. So if anyone's up for it, grab the last chance. Right? Francis.
Are you guys in a break even yet, like in terms of your company?
So the question is on the financials of TenX. No, we're not break even yet. We're currently a company of 75 people, employees, and we aim to get there if we don't expand by next year. But if the markets turn and we're going to see a lot more growth, we might continue expanding.
Thank you. And that will be it for Toby from TenX, the most amazing payment processor in the cryptocurrency space. Thank you very much, Toby. That was an amazing talk.